Hey, yo, what's up, YouTube, man? It's your boy, Action Jackson. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about why the Dallas Cowboys need to have a really good draft coming up because, next month the draft is starting and, we're going to be really depending on that draft class for us to have a reputable type of season because last year we saw that when you don't have a really good free agency year or you don't have you do poorly in free agency and then you pair that up with two mediocre to bad drafts, then you end up having the season that you have last year. I really felt that if we have one draft class in which that we're able to get explosive type of impact day one from those draft picks, I feel like we'll be right back in the thick of things, really in the division and even the conference, depending on how things shake up. So before we hop into the video, I appreciate if you guys would like the video, subscribe if you're new, comment and share my video with anyone who you think will enjoy my content. Straight into it. We had a terrible year last year. We finished the season 7-10. Nothing from that season was really anything worth shining light on, other than you saw DeMarvin Overshown stepping up and him being a really solid leader and solid impact type of player. You saw the offensive line string things together and then get played a little bit better on the back end of the season. But again, a lot of the glaring holes and weaknesses that we knew that was a problem going into the season was still a problem. Obviously having a wide receiver outside of CeeDee Lamb that can separate and make people pay when people want to dedicate coverage towards CeeDee Lamb, right? Then we had nobody else that can make plays. So, we didn't utilize Jake Ferguson into the way in which they wanted him to do, but he had a tough start of his season as well. He had a sprained MCL, he missed week 2 and concussions, and it was a bunch of stuff that was going on last year, right? But from if you really look at this football team, really, this even after all the moves that has been made, after all the transactions has been made, whether you're signing Miles Sanders for your third running back as your veteran depth piece, right? That's similar or comparable to your Ezekiel Elliott free agent signing that you did last year. Then you bring in Javonte Williams as your solid running back too. I do feel like the Dallas Cowboys are going to take running back in the draft this year. I don't know, depending if Ashton Genty's there at 12 or they really like Omarion Hampton in a trade back scenario, if anyone wants to trade up with you in the first round, I think that's where they're probably okay with taking it back if they really like Omarion Hampton or if they want to take Ashton Genty. I think if Ashton Genty is there at 12, they're taking a running back and that's where that position will go. But I feel that if Genty isn't there and they don't really fall in love with Omarion Hampton and they just want to stick and pick maybe like an Emeka Buka, or if T Mac is there, Tedero McMillan, wide receiver out of Arizona, I think T Mac, Emeka, Ashton Genty, I think those are one of the, I think all three of those players, they can come in and be impact type of players for you, and they can automatically bring a spark plug to this team. And really, again, back to when you look at this roster, you have a quarterback that can play. You got CeeDee Lamb that can play. You got Tyler Smith as an All-Pro, Pro Bowler type of player. You have Cooper Beebe that will string along and come along and be a better player. I think Terrence Steele will be a better player. You'll have Brock Hoffman or T.J. Bass, a rotation of that at right guard, and then you'll have your left tackle battle between Austin Richards and Tyler Guyton. Defensively, you're going to have Michael Parsons. You have easily a top 5, top 10 player on that side of the ball. When Deron Bland is healthy, you're going to get a guy that can take the ball away and that isn't afraid to tackle, that's going to make plays. On the opposite end, if Trayvon Diggs is healthy and he's rehabbing like he's supposed to, you will have another really good corner. But going into the season, we're not going to have Trayvon Diggs. So, we brought back Dante Fowler. That's going to be automatically your second best pass rusher. Now you're depending on a second year guy and a person like Marshawn Nealon, and then you're depending on Sam Williams once again to step up. So we're going to have to find out what these guys are made of really come in training camp. But I'm moving this season as if Mozzie Smith isn't on the roster, Tyler Guyton isn't on the roster, Schoonmaker isn't on the roster. Awesome, Deuce Vaughn, Jalen Brooks, that was mainly most of your 23 class. 24, I already said Tyler Guyton, Marshawn Nealon. I'm moving as if we don't have him on the team. Cooper Beebe, you have him at playing interior offensive line. I like him as your center spot. Maris Luafau, that's somebody that you're going to have in your rotation of linebackers that I really like. I'm moving as if Kalen Carson is on this team, Ryan Flournoy, Nate Thomas, or Justin Rogers. Now, those are the people that I said that I would imagine if they're not even on this team, and those are most of the guys that he drafted in the past 2 years. I really feel that if, again, Tyler Guyton when we're speaking about Tyler Guyton, I really felt like Tyler Guyton, it was a 2025 draft pick when we drafted him in the 2024 draft class. I really felt like he was going to be a developmental project. Now, at the time, I thought he was going to be a reputable starter, just for the simple fact that when the Dallas Cowboys drafted offensive linemen in the first round under Will McClay, we always ended up getting instant impact All Pros, Pro Bowlers. I didn't expect that from Tyler Guyton because when you're playing offensive line, that's a nuanced position. If you're new or you haven't been playing, you haven't been an offensive lineman for most of your life, it's going to be very tough for you to play offensive lineman in your later in your collegiate career, and then especially try to go over to the pros and be a damn good one. I think that's gonna be very hard for a guy like Tyler Guyton. But I think with a full year underneath his belt, he got beat a lot, and he has to differentiate between being hurt and being injured and things of that nature, right? Last year, if you look at your 2024 draft class, people that were able to give you any sort of impact was Cooper Beebe, Maris Lufau. To me, how when I looked at that draft class, you're gonna have to be a lot better in the draft, especially since you know that you heavily rely on the draft, since you relies on this so much because you don't participate in free agency and you're not great in making trades, and drafting is where you make roster, like a main overall where you get most of your talent is from the draft when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, because we don't participate in the other two aspects of team building. Again, I feel that if you go into this draft this year and you get a damn good wide receiver that can pair up with CeeDee Lamb, I think now your offense gets taken to new heights. If you add a dynamic running back, and really this running back class is so deep, because when I'm watching this film, I'm watching along with the We're Doing All Right podcast with Brian Bardis and Voss Lombardi. And there's so many backs that you can get, whether it's Dylan Sampson, whether if you feel comfortable, if we're even able to get him in the third. You have Devin Neal, I really like in the third. I like Scotabo in the third, but I think that's more of a redundancy with him and Javonte Williams. But I really like Scotabo if we're able to draft him. I like Quishon Judkins. I like Trayvon Henderson. There's so many running backs that I like that I feel that if you can get a receiver next to CeeDee Lamb, you bring in a running back like one of the guys I just named, Dylan Sampson, whoever's available to you. If you really like, if you're in the second round at pick 44 and somehow Murray and Hampton falls to you, which I don't think he does, but if he's there at 44, that's somebody I'm automatically putting the card in, and we're not even having a discussion about it. That's going to be your running back one, and that's it. That's all. So, I feel like the position that we really need to draft at and look towards is corner. Again, Trayvon Diggs, everyone loves him when he's taking the ball away and when he's playing. When he's not playing, he's in the news for not wanting to rehab. He's wanting to talk mess to reporters because he's automatically coming to his phone and checking his Twitter to see who's talking about him. I think that's not the good way, and you won't fall into anybody's favor by doing that. But again, no longer being good, taking the ball away, and anything like that, all your flaws are shown to the light, right? When you don't want to tackle, that's being brought to light. When you aren't taking the ball away, you're getting burnt. People look at you in a completely different light. So, and the Dallas Cowboys just paid him that money, right? So that he's so rightfully earned. But now, again, once you talk about looking into that contract, how does that second contract look when the Dallas Cowboys are kind of skeptical and giving their own second contracts, right? So I will not be surprised if the Dallas Cowboys either draft a cornerback in the first 3 rounds or especially in the first 2 rounds. I will not be surprised if they have a similar draft class in 2020 where they took CeeDee Lamb 1 and then they took Trayvon Diggs 2. So I think if they have a similar something to that what they had in 2020 would be similar to, I don't know what their board looks like, but if they had a T-Mac, who probably is going to be their ranked number 1 wide receiver, if he's available to them at 12, they take him. And then the second round, there's like a Benjamin Morrison, cornerback at Notre Dame. Or if you got a Siobhan Revelle at ECU, East Carolina. Or you got a Will Johnson, if he slips to the second round at pick 44. That's somebody that I believe the Dallas Cowboys would love to pick. And if you get a T-Mac and a Will Johnson, and then in the third round, you get a Dylan Sampson, I mean, damn, I feel like you're right back in it, because now you can have an automatic corner on the outside, whether that's a Siobhan Revelle or you can have a Will Johnson opposite of Deron Bland. Then you get T-Mac, who will be a perfect X wide receiver complement to CeeDee Lamb, and then you get a Dylan Sampson, a home run top of back. I feel that right there, your defense and your offense now has completely shifted, and then now it's going to make your coaching staff a lot more easier. And again, you need to hit in the first 2 rounds. we haven't been able to hit in the first 2 rounds for the past 5 years, and the last time we were able to hit in the first 2 rounds was CeeDee Lamb and Trayvon Diggs. Again, you look at the 2023 draft class. Mozzie Smith, Luke Schoonmaker did not help you at all. DeMarvin Overshown was injured. Villian Fehoko, not even on the roster, not even in the league anymore. Austin Bridges, rotational left tackle. Eric Scott, same thing, probably not in the league anymore. Deuce Vaughn, for me, was a sympathy pick. I really like the player, I really like the person, but they treated it as a sympathy pick, and I felt bad for Deuce Vaughn because he came into a system in which your head coach did not like to run the ball. And then you got Jalen Brooks, which is just another run-of-the-mill wide receiver, 4 or 5, special teams type of player. So again, I feel like if you get a productive draft class, I feel like you'll be right back in the thick of things. Whether if you get you another dynamic wide receiver, I still feel like they need to participate in free agency and go sign Keenan Allen. So that's why you feel really, really great about your wide receiver room, even having Jonathan Brooks, or not Jonathan Brooks, I'm sorry, but Jonathan Mingo. And then you also have defensively, if you bring in a really good corner like Asante Samuel Jr. to play the slot, and then you still have Kyrie Elam, Kalen Carson, Deron Bland, Israel Mukwamu. Now you feel a lot better about your cornerback room. If you add a guy like Asante, you add Keenan Allen to your wide receiver, then I really feel like you can go out there in the draft and draft freely, and you can go BPA in every single position if you were to sign those two players, Asante Samuel at nickel corner and Keenan Allen as outside wide receiver. And then you draft a wide receiver, bring him into a very vetted wide receiver room with a guy like Keenan Allen, and then CeeDee Lamb. And then defensively, if you're bringing Asante Samuel Jr., a really young player who's really good in the league, you get him and you get another outside corner, pair that with Deron Bland. And then again, if Trayvon Diggs come back, he does. If he doesn't, that can be a trade deadline piece that you move. Or heck, you cannot have enough great corners in this league. So if you have 4 or 5 corners that can really ball, then we'll like that as well. So again, the past draft classes haven't been great. That's the reason why you're kind of in the hole that you are right now on the team, and also with you not participating in free agency. I do feel that if you are another dynamic young wide receiver that you draft, a dynamic running back that you draft, or a dynamic corner that you draft, I feel like you can be right back in the think of things in the East, and you make 2 major free agency signings in Keenan Allen and Asante Samuel Jr. And then that's how I feel. That's my blueprint of bringing the Dallas Cowboys back, and then having Clayton Adams and your Connor Raleigh, formerly from Kansas State, come over and coach up your offensive line. I think you'll be fine. If Mozzie Smith comes into his full man strength body and he becomes something this year, because this is the last year that I'm going to give him any grace. After that, if he doesn't improve, I'm done with Mozzie Smith. I'm out, and let's go draft another nose tech. Again, I'm moving as if he's not on the roster, and so on for the other draft picks who haven't panned out so far. So that's about it for the video. Hope you guys have a nice day. Stay safe, stay blessed. Bye.